Okay, somebody asked me to do some explanation of Moe Norman's swing, and I wouldn't say that I'm an expert. And like I always say, there's one expert, and that was Moe, and he's not around anymore. But I did work on doing some of his mechanics for a couple of years, so I have some idea. And actually, I would say, having done that, some of that probably went into designing this trainer, because the trainer is designed like he did. He said no twisting and turning. So you don't do that with the trainer either. You keep your face square to path the whole time, and you hinge this way like he did. Now other people hinge this way too, but he was, he wasn't doing this hinge. He was doing this hinge on plane. So no secondary things to deal with. Just hinge on plane, release on plane was the concept. So you can get a feel for it. Go rotate back without lifting. Let it float up a little bit, and then go through. And the lower body action is, the feeling is, as you get to the top, you're going to rotate pretty hard, but don't let this foot leave the ground at all. So you're not rotating like this. You're rotating without this foot coming up, which provides a break in the system, basically. That's where the speed's coming from. It's that move. It feels kind of both horizontal and rotational, but it is initially shifting and then rotating, but then braking without getting all the way to there, and then your body, upper body comes through. That's the basic feel. And then, as far as the upper body goes, I would say his coin drill is the best description, so go watch him do the coin drill on a video. So he said he put a coin 14 inches in front of where the ball would be, and back, I don't know, it was some specific 42 inches or something, but didn't lift the club at all. He just practiced rotating, so square when he was at the ball, kept it square, rotated back, square through the ball, rotate back. So you can see the part through the ball is where you do this. That's what it feels like. You do that and the club doesn't rotate. If you keep this arm, don't let it go this way. Keep this always under and square through the ball like that. So I'll do a little teeny one, and that's the critical part that's making it a very directionally controllable, is doing a move where you stay square through there, toward target, square to target. So, gotta do that little finish. See how square the target I was? Not bad. You can see that even that, it doesn't take a ton of, it produces decent speed without looking like a lot's happened. So I'll do it again. Square target, that's the move through the ball. That's a little closer to being on line, similar distance. And then if you want to ramp that up a little bit, you're doing the same move, and then just hit this hard without letting that foot come up. So, same move. See that rotation harder. See if that produced a little more. So, 133 now. And then I'm going to do, and probably fail, but I'll attempt to explain the master move a little bit. So, if you wanted to then take that pretty simple thing and add a lever to it, or another gear, or whatever you want to call it, the master move, he described it as this and that. So what that is letting the club, as you're coming down, instead of just being here, you're actually letting the club drop farther behind you. And so you're delaying, because you're rotating this way, you're leaving that club behind and then releasing it. So it just adds some extra speed, makes the path a little longer. And he described this as a drop, so you're not pulling down. It's a drop, and then horizontal tug, which is not, it's not pulling down, it's tugging horizontally. horizontal, right? Straight that way. Even though it rotates around, you could say I'm tugging that way. No, not swinging to the outside. Horizontal, which means he's seeing himself going straight through the ball, so dropping to there, and then straight through the ball. So see if I can add a little gear to it. Not sure I can, but I'll give it a couple tries maybe. Now that one might have had a little more on it from the sound of it. So a little more, 143, that's a pitching wedge, that's pretty speedy. I think if I really worked at that, so I'm not getting near as much as he would have had, so there's a really pronounced, when you see him going at it with the driver, which is I think where he really used that more, then you see this really pronounced whiplash kind of feeling, right? That's how it looks through the ball. And you don't see a lot of other people doing his swing quite getting that, but I'll try one more. No, bad contact. Kind of got the move, but not very good contact. So anyway, that for sure, if you try to add, it's still got decent, that was pretty thin. So if you try to add that in, it becomes more complicated. And I'm not convinced he used that except when he was trying to go after a drive. Because for sure his whole game was, how do you become as accurate as possible? And that's all about being square through the ball and eliminating all sorts of rotations and changes in angles. So set your angle, go through the ball, keep everything really square. And then that funny move at the end, if you get the other moves, you'll see why he was doing that. It's almost a natural occurrence because you end up really finishing the swing here and you don't want to stand there, so then you just go like that. So that's my best interpretation there. But I think if you're going to learn, if you're actually going to teach yourself a swing entirely from scratch that's different, this is one of the more simple ones you could do for sure. It has kind of minimized the moving parts and kind of sets you up to be returning to where you started and all sorts of things that makes it much less complicated than other swings. So anyway, if you want to try it, give it a try.